my co-host Joanna. Hi,
Hello,
we're going to be. Oh, you're still there?
I am still here. Yep.
Okay, we're going to be discussing. Going to be discussing. Oh, for some reason, did that say? That's odd. That's odd.
What is it? What?
Recording has finished. Shall I just come through? I'll start again. Shall I ring you again?
Um, you can do. Do you want me to stop recording?
Oh, you're
I'm
recording.
recording. Yeah, I've actually remembered. Yeah, I've started recording.
Okay, I'll leave that with you, ready to record. Obviously it's going out on the studio, but the studio aren't they don't have archives, so we have to record ourselves. I'm not very techie. I'm not techie at all, so that's the problem. So I thought we'd talk today about men who hate women, the women who love them. Um,
Ooh, juicy.
I've been asked to take part in a Netflix documentary. They're doing one about the Hillside Strangler.
Wow. Okay, who's making that then?
I think it's Hulu for Netflix.
Oh, right.
So
Yes.
yeah, I've been approached to take part. Uh,
Good stuff.
yeah, I mean, what was interesting, I did speak to the producer and blah de blah, and because I did meet Kenneth Bianchi twice. I flew out to America, commissioned by The Guardian, and and then she started talking about, oh yeah, it's interesting. We should, women that are attracted to men like that, and I thought, oh, hang on.
I am not one of those.
Well, it seemed it's a three-parter, and she said, oh, I'll do one with that, and I thought, oh, am I going to be? She's going to ask this woman who's written a book, actually, men attracted to murderers, Sheila Eisenberg or something like that.
Women are attracted to murderers. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought, oh, is that like, am I going to get wheeled out at the sort of after she's spoken?
Well,
I didn't like Sheila's book. I thought it was pretty empty. I thought she
was it?
posed a question. Yeah, she posed a question, why are women interested in men that aren't, positive and loving, whatever. And but yet there weren't any answers. There was the usual low self-esteem, bad father, but that was it. So I
Has
thought
she
it was
met any of them like you have?
no.
So she's talking out of her bum then, isn't she? I mean, well, she is, though. I mean, the thing is, you've met two of these men, well, one of them, and while they're incarcerated, so after they've been tried and convicted. Now, not many people, never mind women, not many people, in my humble opinion anyway, get a chance to do that outside of professionals that would be working with them as part of their incarceration.
Mm,
Incarceration.
mm.
So it's quite right that you appear on something like that because you're in a unique position of having that experience, which is very rare and very interesting.
But then I end up getting put down. Do you know what I mean in it? And I don't know why that happens. I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I expect that's why. But
I think because it's a mixture of reasons. I think some people feel quite threatened by it because, and I think maybe it is a bit of a misogynistic reason for that. It's because these kinds of individuals are the most dangerous individuals in humanity, really, aren't they?
yeah.
Um, and you, as a mere woman, should not even be thinking about having any dalliance with them in any form. Never mind actually flying out to America and meeting them. And I think it puts some people's nose out of joint because it's like a lot of things. It's like celebrities or any people in positions of power. It's a strange position of power for men like that, and they are often men. However, it is a position of power, and it's like it's almost like there's an authority that says, well, yes, you're entitled to meet them, but you're not because you're just like a mere woman. That's how I see it anyway. And just people are weird. There's a cult, like we've discussed before on the show. There's a cult around serial killers, and they're very jealously guarded about who gets to talk about them, or because I've been watching. There's quite a few things on YouTube now. It seems to be a more and more popular genre of content creators who talk about crimes, famous
That's
crimes.
massive. That's massive. There's
Yeah.
the Emma Kenny, and I watched her, and she comes on. And I thought she must be a famous crime psychologist because she sits. No harm to her. All praise to her for doing it. She sits there and she's like, "I will now tell you about," and you think, "Oh, who's that?" She must be like a professor the authority there is like massive. And so I watched her, and I thought, "Oh, she's like a housewife who's just giving her opinion." But she's got the lights, the makeup, the suit, the bang. I think it's Mary Kenny or Emma Kenny. I
Is she
am Emma
American or
Kenny, and I
an
will
English
tell you.
lady?
Pardon me?
Is she American or an English lady?
She's English.
Right. Well, I've been watching this American lass called Hollister or something,
Right.
and I watched a 3-parter, and it ended up being about 4.5 hours long in total. It was a very interesting case. It was historical, and it was interesting because it was like the elites of Australia in Melbourne, and it was about this young woman in her 20s that was found at the bottom of a garbage chute in an exclusive apartment block.
What's that whistling noise? Is that your washing machine?
That's my washing machine. Sorry, I'll go and shut the living room door.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I do apologise.
No, it's okay. I just don't want to get the old tinnitus, you know.
Sorry, listeners, for the intricate details of my domestic arrangement. Anyway, it was interesting. The girl herself was the victim was an interest. I hate that actually. She was a girl. She was a woman. An interesting character, and this guy that she hooked up with had all the sort of like hallmarks of being spoilt and privileged, and I think the general consensus is he did her in. But his parents were judges and high up in the legal profession. And the inquest, it said something like suicide, but people didn't buy it. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of them. It's like a real genre, isn't it?
It's massive.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I should do it, you know, but it does feel a bit, I don't know, just feels a bit, what's the word for it? Disingenuous. Because shouldn't you be a criminologist? Shouldn't you? But then all these people, you know, like Carol Ann Lee, Chris Berry D, they haven't been to university to study.
Yeah, but if you're a criminologist, then you're really restricted in what you can say because
Right.
you're an academic. So you will have to, you know what that's like? That's a cult in itself, academia.
But why are normal people doing it? It just seems strange, you know, like.
Well,
I don't know.
there seems to be a huge one around what was that guy called? He killed his pregnant wife and their children so he could
Oh, yes. She did that. Same girl did that case.
Loads of them have done that, and they have loads of subscribers.
Yes, millions.
And it's like any little minor detail that comes out, new detail, everybody's on it. I mean, it is intense, really intense.
I don't think that. Yeah, it is. But I don't think it's like wholesome. It's not. I mean, like take Carol Ann Lee, right? She seems to sort of. She does follow around cases that she did write about the Morse case. She tried to get near Brady, couldn't get near. I think was quite angry with me because I did. But a lot of people have tried to get him, and it was pretty difficult. And I'd studied the case Billy Hughes, Pottery Cottage murder. I'd also studied and visited Jeremy Bamber. She went and did a book on Bamber. It's now on Netflix. And then she did something on.
Did you say you visited Jeremy Bamber?
No, just talked to him over the phone.
Right, okay.
And corresponded for a couple of years. She didn't visit him either. She did the book but she just rehashed it. There was a better book out there called Blood Relations, but she managed to milk it fine, whatever. Then she did a book on something else I had written about, and I'd done. I found this guy's daughter and did something for the Daily Mail. And so she regurgitated that. Regurgitated it, didn't add to it in any way, shape, or form, and got a lot of coverage in the press regurgitating that particular crime. And the victim of it, whose family was taken out, including her daughter, was really upset. Now, I'd spoken to that woman to try and interview her back, 10 years ago, maybe more, and she was really upset. So I thought, leave her alone, but this Lee decided to write the book and call it her version. Of course, she went crazy. She didn't want it brought up, but it was leaked or something. And I just thought, well, you have to be, I mean, everybody bringing up these true crime cases, and it's a bit unwholesome. I mean, I do like Chris Berry D. He's a friend, but he earns his money out of crime. It's out of crime. It's out of
other people suffering, basically.
Well, it's out of the murderers. It is actually, like Lee, it's cashing in on what they've done. It is, and I don't think, though I could put that head on and do it, it's unwholesome. And I think it's unwholesome for the public to be thinking about it as well. It's just it's all very unwholesome. I mean, this thing about Bianchi, it's a female producer, and she said to me, it's quite funny. She is nice. I like her, but she said to me, "Oh, perhaps you can facilitate an introduction with Bianchi." And I thought, I don't know, I felt a bit strange about that, because it reminded me of one time, when I got very close to the Real IRA in Belfast and the UDA. I kept it so nobody could say, "Oh, you're on their side." I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't
very wise. Yeah,
shit about United Ireland. I mean, we're all mixed together, a big melting pot of the world. We want Ireland for the Irish. I mean, no. So they're socialists anyway. So I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm not on their side. So I got close to the UDA as well. But when I was out there, because my front page stories were so good, and a certain person made comment about that. How were they so good? Oh, I slept with the commander. So if you're listening to this, you can write about that as well. There's nothing about my life I'm ashamed about. It's all been in my books. It's all out there, including having sex with when I have sex with men, it turns into my foster father that this particular person mentioned and said, "Oh, do you really want someone like that bringing your news?" Well, the fact is, all women that have been abused by their fathers have that. All women that have been raped have that. So you can stop your gloating.
Hold on. Somebody said.
Somebody said a certain person.
Sorry.
A certain person we know who.
Do they mean you? Do people really want you bringing news? Is that what they meant? You?
Yeah, because I had that sexual problem, and I confided in that person.
Do they live in a matchbox? I mean, wow, you're the first woman who's ever done this, are you? Really? Oh, for God's sake, get a life. Well, sorry, get a life. Get a life. Who are those immoral judgments?
It upset me, and all this stuff that I'm hanging out at Daniela Westbrook's arse. I was published by the same publisher
not
as her. We were both published by Hodder and Stoughton. Me Searching for Daddy. Hers was called Over the Hill or Over the Top or something like that. And that's the only thing I have in common with her. And I exchanged a few Twitters. I don't know. I'm something hanging out of her bum. Why would I be? All that derogatory. You're shit. If you're going to be a Christian, in the eyes of a Christian, you don't judge others and you don't call them shit and all this. So she brought you her news, all this, and she has that sexual problem. I'm honest about my sexual problems in my published books and in radio to help others, to help others. And then someone gets something like that. And I think it's been taken down, but I've got it. I've downloaded it. But, it's been taken down. And I've never hurt that particular person. He was saying, "Oh, I've got taped phone calls." I've got taped phone calls because somebody said to me, everything you say to him is going to put it out later. So I made sure everything I said was stuff that I wanted to be put out. I am not a stupid person. I also don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody, so I'm hardly likely to trust someone sort of like that. And they're like, oh, she trusted me, she told me this. I tell everyone about personal things. That's the way I am. And I've got tapes of that person going, oh, I'm going to stab Mazza Mahmood, I'm going to stab him. I've done nothing with that. And I'm certainly not threatening to put it out there in a documentary. You know, I don't care for being threatened myself, you know. But as for, oh, she trusted me, now I'm going to expose her. I make my life thing out of exposing myself. You know, it's my thing. I don't think there's anything about myself that I haven't exposed, you know, because I think when you do that, you can learn and grow. When you do that, you can help some young person out there who's feeling ashamed. I don't like it that people feel shame, you know, and if my sharing every tiny little idiosyncrasy about myself can help some young person out there, then I'll do it, because me and he haven't got long in this world. You know, we've had our lives actually. Now we're in the point where we should be, the young, they're having their lives, where we should share it with them, warts and all, and get the warts out there and say, this is me, this is me. If you're like that, don't be ashamed, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not interested in. Pardon?
I hear your anger. I can understand why
you make me angry, yeah, because I'm not here to, and they were going things like, oh, she's not a proper journalist. Babes, I'm not even a proper person. I'm a fuck up. I'm insane. I'm lots of things. I'm a piece of shit on the street, love. But one thing I want to do is help people out there who are the same as me. I'm not a unique little snowflake. There's probably loads of people out there like me, being adopted, being sexually abused, being trafficked and that kind of thing. And I want to help them, you know. I don't care about, oh, you're not I hate myself. I look at me, I hate myself. So nobody can ever say anything bitchy, no matter how snarky they are, to make me feel bad. And no matter how much they go on, I'm going to expose you. Well, the only more exposing I can do myself is if I did a Playboy legs akimbo. So good luck with exposing me. It's really grinds my gears so much, you know. But it's like my mother has come to life, I swear. And I wish, you know, I you know, we had a little falling out, Joanna, about you telling me, you know, or somebody's, you know, this person has been speaking about you, and the other one over there in America. And sorry, I was snappy with you, but somebody had come to me and really insulted me. Louise had really insulted me, and I don't care for it. I mean, you know, I am speaking to her again, but I mean, you know, is that her real thoughts? And that's why, you know, I got you wrong in what you'd said, because I was a bit bruised by it. And then yesterday, another friend, Tim, came along and said, you know, oh, he said this, and then I had to listen to it and feel shitty. So, yeah, I just asked my friends to not, you know, to not tell me, because sometimes it's better not knowing.
Very stressful situation to be under. And I understood, I think you're dealing with somebody with very low emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That male person anyway. But
yeah.
The reason
why what it does is it reminds, it's not that, oh, everybody knows that now. Everybody knows that when I have sex with a man, I see my foster father. It's not that. It did make me feel slightly ashamed, but I thought maybe it will help people again. But it's that. It's like my mother. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's like her saying, like, everything about you is wrong. Everything about you is wrong. Yeah. And I'm going to tell everyone, and I'm going to get everyone to think you're evil and bad and evil and bad. Just reminds me of my adoptive mother. So try as I might, I go to a place of trauma. I get triggered into a depression, get triggered into a trauma. But I'm not going to let it make me angry. I just, you know, forgive. I mean, when I was in primal therapy, they said, you know, when people get you to your pain, thank them, because it's free therapy, and feel the pain and get it out, you know, feel it. I've got a lot of anger at my father, you know, masses and masses of anger, because you know, I've never looked in the eyes of someone and actually made love to them, because, you know, when I see a penis, then I see him. When I see a penis, I smell the smell. You know, when I was a little girl and he was there, and I shouldn't have been a little girl with someone that I had to call daddy, you know, doing that. And then people say, well, you know, why did you write to Brady? It's obvious, you know, like Anne said that, and Dragogeny, you know, oh, well, what'd you do that for? Well, the fact is it's to get power. It's to go then to someone like that, someone like my father, who died without me confronting him. I confronted my mother. My dad got away with it, but it's having that anger and being able to get into a position of power over someone like that and to screw them over. And I said to that producer, about visiting Bianchi, I said, it's getting a rapist in a position of where you're the authority, you're the big cheese. They're in a cage and you can come along and you can do what you want. You're the big kahuna, even with the real IRA. My father was Irish. There's a connection there with my father, to go along to powerhouses like them and to be, I'm the journalist. I'm going to write about you. You've got to now be, I'm the one. And I said that to the producer. And that's why I was drawn to that field of studying them. But it's not all about my father. A lot of it's about, I wonder why they did it. But actually I suppose that goes back to my father, because then you wonder, why was a good looking man like my adoptive father interested in me? I wasn't even a pretty little girl. I was ugly. I had a big nose. He was very good looking, and he got so much attention from absolutely gorgeous women. I remember thinking as a little girl, some of the mothers at the school were stunning, and the way they used to look at him, I mean, I noticed it as a little girl, but he just like wasn't interested. And it just makes me wonder, like someone like Bianchi, who's good looking, why does someone like that, why did they have to snatch girls off the street and rape them? Why not go to a nightclub?
Yes, exactly. Well, there's several levels we could look at this, isn't there? There's an esoteric occult explanation.
Yeah.
That they were demonically possessed. When it involves the Catholic Church and the curse of your father, there's, it's been suggested to you that you're MK Ultra, and that was part of your traumatizing. Was, as we all know, this is a well-documented technique of sexual abuse, and since the Catholic Church was so involved in your childhood, that might be the key, partially the key, but he still actually did it, didn't he? Regrettably, very regrettably. So,
Well, when Sarah, Sarah Adams, she did the healing on me,
yeah.
the soul retrieval recently. She said, "Oh, I can see your father there, adoptive father." I didn't know any other father. Well, I did actually. I met him, Tom Hogan, but
Your biological father.
yeah, but I didn't know him. But still, I don't know if that was my real father. I think she was a prostitute. She was only 13, but a schoolgirl prostitute. I talked to her over the phone. She was damn nasty to me. And
She was nasty to you.
oh, she was damn nasty. Yeah, she said to me, "You seem to be obsessed with who your father is." I said, "Oh, well, I want to know the story behind that." And you and your family dumped me. And this, I always thought that he didn't, and I was right. She said to him, and her family said, "You're a dirty paddy, get lost," because they were English, and he was like a road mender. And he wasn't allowed. He wanted to keep me, and he was 17, and then they told him to get lost. And then she said to me, "Why are you interested in a scummy paddy?" And I thought, what? And then she said, I told her what had happened to me, and she said, "Oh, I was really young." I mean, that was her response. And then she started saying, I think adoption is a good thing. I mean, my blood was boiling. I just thought. And then
where was she from then? What area of the country is this?
London.
Oh, so this is right. Okay.
Oh, she was born up in Manchester, and but had moved down, so she's living in London right now. And so I could have met her. I mean, literally, I stone's throw away. And she was set to meet me. She goes, "Oh, where are you now? Where are you now, Tracy?" I said, "Well, they gave me a different name." She kept calling me Tracy. And
weird.
Oh yeah, and then I said I was going to meet her, and then Paul said to me, "Don't put your ego through that." So I said, "Oh, I don't really sure that I should meet you." And then she started saying that wasn't her real daughter, that I had stole the information from the Crusade
What?
to Rescue. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She said, "Oh, you're not my real
Yeah.
daughter. You've stolen her records." I said, "What? Are you famous or something?" I said, "Who would want to do that?" And she goes, "No, you're not her. You're not her." I said, "Do you know, piss off." I said, "Who'd want to be related to you?" And that was it. And then I sent her a couple of emails saying, "Who goes out shagging at 13?" And there was she slept with the brother as well. They were two boxers and roadmen. She slept with both of them. I mean, I said, "Did you do it for money?" Why was she shagging with roadmenders? I mean, I don't really understand that. Um,
That sounds very dodgy. I mean,
it's weird. And then there was a priest involved, like the priest, she had me, left me somewhere, then I got picked up, she got traced, and there was the Catholic Church got all involved. She told me that. Well, I knew that anyway. The Crusades of Rescue, picked me up.
yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't meet her, thank God. That would have been a massive mistake. I sent her a few emails, I said, take responsibility that you push someone into a load of suffering just because you got your orgasm. I said, glad you got your orgasm, but you know what? Feel guilty. Don't have that. I was young, whatever. It's not that young. And I suffered immeasurably. Anyway, so going back to the producer, she was saying to me, "Oh, introduce me to Bianchi," and I felt, it was a bit like when I was over in Belfast and some of the like Rosie McGowan and Henry McDonald, and they were saying, "Oh, introduce us to the real IRA. Your stories are bang on," and it was only because I was down there burrowing in. Because it's what I do. I burrow in, I burrow close. I was burrowing in, and I had a sexual relationship with the leader of the Real IRA because I wanted to get close and smell them and find out what was going on spiritually. And it's up to me if I choose to do that. My sexuality is just a tool to me. I don't own it. So unless it was, of course, MK Ultra, and I was down there to spy, there's always that thought. But what I found, a little bit annoying is, you do all that, and it took me about 5 years to get close to the real IRA. Wasn't something that happened overnight, and I'd gone through a lot to do it. And same with Bianchi, it took literally years, years of letter writing and then getting back, can you please go away? Do you know what I mean? And then me
Yeah.
going, no, I'm going to write again, and then literally spending 10 hours writing a letter, rereading it and thinking, no, it doesn't hit the right point, and then going back to the computer again, doing it again, rereading it, oh no, that's wrong, that won't get right. And just to get in the cracks of someone like that who's really like a hedgehog.
Won't Kenneth Bianchi be elderly by now?
He's in his 60s.
All right. Okay.
And so for someone to come along and say introduce me like they did about the real IRA, I'd spent ages, I'd gone down there, I'd been putting in the back of a car, put a sack over my head, and been through all of that to get in the position I was in. And I'd also been through such a lot, literally cacking myself. And then, like with Bianchi, it takes all that time. And then for someone to say, oh, bring me in at the top, do you know what I mean?
Mm,
It feels a
yeah.
bit, is that wrong of me to think it's cheeky?
No, because of all the work and sacrifice that you had to do to, it's like the skimming the cream off the top, isn't it? Really. You can't blame them in a way. I mean, that's their job. That's what they're there to do. But I can understand it peeing you off at the same time. Uh,
Yeah, it did. It made me feel it's disrespectful as well. Like like I'm sort of brain dead in some kind of way that I won't realize that it's cheeky.
mm, yeah.
And then she said, she's a nice woman, and open. She said, "Oh, because I've got three times 60 minutes, it's a lot of documentary to fill on one person." She said, "I thought I'd do an episode on women that are attracted to murderers," and I'm like, oh, right. And she said she's going to get this book writer to who wrote a very empty bullshit book anyway. I know people far better that give insights into psychopaths and stuff. But again, I'm not going to fess that up because that's my research. And anyway, she yeah, I said, oh, what is that? Is that the part I'm going to be in? She goes, oh, if you want, you can contribute. And I thought, well, so there's going to have this one, and then I'm going to get wheeled out, and I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I got really close to Bianchi, and I'm, oh, what'd you do that for? Do you know what I mean? And because I'm honest about my father, but there was the fact I was investigating because I'm an investigator, I mean, what are they looking for? What is the person that commissioned it? Are they purely, well, I suppose they're purely doing it for entertainment, but I want to find out what went on, it's not about my whole,
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. It's just like a bit, but then I suppose one can say, I have over the years been attracted to men that hate women, talking about the person we talked about earlier who was spilling all my personal stuff. I was attracted to him, and clearly he hates women. He certainly hates me. And other people have said, he doesn't like women, And I thought, watching that yesterday, I thought, what's the matter with me that I can't just keep away from that? That maybe, even investigating men like that, why don't I just let it go?
I don't know, hon. I think you're constantly reminded of things like that by other people, really. Always seems to be coming up, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought about, is there a way out for women that have had fathers that are potent and evil to ever recover in any way, or you're always a sort of squirming worm underneath it, especially if the mother was a bit of a flying monkey for the father, Is there a way out of it ever? I tried to get power over it, I tried to appease it, I tried to understand it. And yeah, it always ends up laughing at you at the end. Like Bianchi, now I'm to be swept up into some kind of mindless fucking tart who was slavering over his chops. No, I wasn't. Do you know what I mean? No, I
Yeah.
wasn't. But I'm sure he'll go along with saying that because he's in the position of power. So no matter how much I went along to his cage as I'm a journalist, still he is, yeah, you were after this packet here, weren't you? And yeah, I want a piece of me, bitch. And then someone else comes along from a powerful organization, and I'm playing the part of mindless whore that wants to twang in their vag, or it's about your father, wasn't it? The twanging vag, and so again, babang, you're down in powerless. I talked to a pop star because pop star's powerful, and that's nice. I wouldn't mind snogging him. And next thing he's saying that you're an idiot, and why would you ever listen to that person? Because after all, when they're having sex, they're thinking of their father. How twisted is that? And it's like no matter how much you try and run against that wall, that hologram of that potent male abuser, to get control over it, you end up on the floor, and even other women urinating on you. Oh yeah, you were twanging after that, weren't you? You don't even get the respect of, well, actually I was investigating that, not in the case of the pop star, obviously. No, I was just starstruck. But oh, he's saying, oh, you were spying on me. No, I just wanted to shag your ass. I wasn't spying on you. Just wanted to cop a feel. Actually, did want to cop a feel of him, but not of Bianchi. Actually, was studying him. And even other women kind of join in with it, join in with the oh, you're just a. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. I mean, what do you think of that as someone who runs groups for women? Do you think there is a way of getting power, or do you think women like me and probably hundreds of others, or I wouldn't be sharing this, struggle in trying to get power over, rather than just walking away from it. They try and, in a way, get revenge or usurp it. Or is that a common thing?
I think it's a mixture of how women feel that have been in positions where they haven't had any power, where they've been powerless, or in positions where they've been abuse victims. The best thing you can do for yourself is the best revenge ultimately is happiness, but that's not always easy to achieve. The best thing you can do is learn to manage your own thoughts and feelings, and get some help from people who've been through this and who know what works and what will help you manage your thoughts and your reactions, and how, like you've described, how certain people make you feel the way that at the moment, the way they're talking about you and in public as well, and making you feel the same emotions that you felt in the past when you were in that family.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of sorting that out, and then you're empowered. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but you are empowered, and you're back in a position of control because you've got control over yourself now. And even if these people in the public domain do make comments, it doesn't affect you as much because you know how to manage those thoughts and feelings, and you can separate them out. So that's, I mean, because what the actually tackling the injustice of abuse in any form, it's a two-way street. There's you attacking it and on an individual basis, and then there's a collective society basis, because this is happening in society. So there's you possibly, for example, something happens to you, you go to the police, the police might arrest somebody, and then they're charged, and then it might go through the courts, and then they might go to prison, or it might not work out that way. You know, things might go wrong, which would make you feel worse because you haven't had the backup of what you put your faith in. Or maybe you direct your energies to get involved in getting more justice for abuse victims. So you're taking back some power through that way. But a lot of this kind of thing, when it's on a bigger scale, is the, you know, the media get involved, don't they? How could they not? Because it becomes a big public issue. So I would say that how it goes. I mean, what you tend to find is time and time again. I know when I've been on the Freedom Programme and I've been sat in the groups, and when I've been empowered to change, the abuse doesn't stop just because you're not in a relationship with that person anymore. The abuse doesn't stop. When it comes to like domestic abuse, they will still find a way to abuse you, even if it's to do with custody of children, access to children, taking you back to court over and over again, using the courts as a form of abuse.
But with my situation, I feel that, I don't know, I feel like, you know, when my mother died, that would be it. But it's almost like, even with that, the singer, almost taking a part of my mother. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
bad, you were abused. What, you're thinking of your father when you're having sex, you dirty bitch? Sure, when you were a kiddie, you weren't into it. It's like that, you know, it's like that abuse, that was you, that was your fault, that was you. Do you know what I mean?
So
Look how bad you are.
That's public humiliation, and it's the court of public opinion, isn't it, that he's using?
Yeah.
So he's trying to humiliate you, which is how you felt in the past, which is dreadful, and that's you know, it's despicable. This is why I said it's a person of low emotional intelligence, because a decent human being, no matter what's going on between you, wouldn't do that. They really wouldn't. I mean, ultimately, like you said, what have you done to him?
Nothing, actually, but
Yeah.
he would say, oh, you came in to spy me. As I said, no, I fancied you. I was sexually attracted to you. And that is why I spoke to you. And it was other people that came along. Do you know what I mean? Other people. Oh, this, that. Oh, you should talk to him. Oh, you should have interviewed Russell Stone. My producer said you should. Oh, he just brought up this secret thing, Red Room. So you should get him on again and talk about that. I was barely listening. I was, it was like when I interviewed Darren G, who can listen when he's speaking. He's absolutely gorgeous, that Darren G. I wasn't listening. I was just looking at his picture and spacing out. And then some bloody bitch, she said on the YouTube, you weren't listening to Darren, he's lovely. And I said, yeah, I know he's lovely. I just wasn't listening. But that's just me, do you know what I mean? But it's different. I didn't set out, but then surely if I did do the interview about these red rooms, then surely that's a good thing, isn't it? Isn't that good? Isn't that what was supposed to come out? Isn't that what you wanted out?
So. You would think so, but he seems to be thinking that you've deliberately coaxed it out of him,
Well, that was Russell Stone. Russell Stone lives in Australia. Shut up. Russell Stone lives in Australia. Him. You know, I feel like a puppet sometimes. I get jigged about by this person and that person, and then I'm the face in the frame, like somebody came along and said to talk to him, and then they said, oh, don't bring up my name though, don't bring up my name. And I remember thinking at the time, why are you saying that? Why, is this something bad? Why don't bring up your name? And it was, again, the schmuck, because I haven't got my mind on things, because sometimes it is upset, I am feeling depressed, I am sort of feeling, but it doesn't make me a bad writer, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, you're right. So to focus on happiness, but then it's rather like, because you have to have a relationship with me, unless you turn gay. I don't want to be gay. Even in a relationship, even friendship, it's hard, because obviously men like that, men who hate women and the women who love them, men, they're familiar. I mean, my brother was like that. My father was like that. What the hell have I got to say to a really kind, loving man? I mean, they'll just appear like an alien to me. I'm more easy to get on with men that are like razors, and just because you know them and it's familiar, and in some kind of way you miss your brother. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
So you're just kind of screwed unless you sort of stay alone.
Well, I think you've got to look at what power do you have? Well, you've got the power to work on yourself. I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? You can't control how other people act, but you can control, or start to learn how to control, how you respond to those people. So working on yourself, getting your own power back, that is the best thing you can do. There is no way you can control what people are saying about you at the moment. But what you can do is reinforce your integrity by acting properly and acting with honour, and not stooping to levels that they've been acting, accusing you of all kinds of balmy rubbish. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. I don't know what's wrong with some people.
I know. And part of me has lost their sympathy with that individual. But then I was looking at him the other child, and I back again, and I thought, if you keep going down this road, it's going to end in trouble. Do you know what I mean? You need to kind of sort of take a different pathway,
Yeah.
And then I thought of my own pathway. I mean, my pathway is similar. I go out there, I talk about John Boyle, and I'm all John Boyle.
Hello.
He took my career. So, it's the same thing. And I think we all have to look at our own lives, and what we're doing and how we're handling it. Oh,
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought you dropped out momentarily.
So I mean, as for that documentary, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether I want to appear. I mean, if I am going to appear in it, I need to be respected. But then I think at the end of the day, you just get dissed. I mean, because I think nobody wants to say, well, you did something like that and it was good and well done. They always want to say, they always want to belittle it. I suppose maybe because if it's investigator making the program, they have to be the head honcho. They have to be the investigator. They don't want someone else to come on that is the investigator, so they have to be regulated to stupid slut. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. I think you should give it a bit more of a chance and see what else happens, because it's only one person he's spoken to, isn't it? And that might be just her angle. Maybe she's trying to please her bosses by saying, "Oh yeah, I've got a scoop. I can get an introduction to Bianchi."
Yeah. Well, he said I mean, he won't talk to he won't talk to I've approached him, and he won't talk to the documentary makers. So yeah, I mean, they asked me would I carry out the interview, but then, I don't really want to get linked in there with somebody who's got such dark energy. It was all right in the past, but now I've opened up, and psychically, he's drenched in gin, Bianchi. He came after me. And looking back, I think you were very right, because you said when I was telling the story of when, after I wrote the book on him, he attacked me psychically, and I was getting visions of like the desert and men having their heads cut off, group beheadings, buried up to their necks in sand. It was all Middle Eastern, Middle Eastern, Middle Eastern. And you said that's to do with the jinn, which sent me on the pathway where I met the sheikh. But you were 100% right. Now I look at it back, that's a jinn. He's had a jinn. He had an imaginary friend as a child. He went to stay in a certain house. Maybe there were people there that were from the Middle East. I don't know. And then something dark came into him, and that was it. The jinn. But he's still got his jinn. I would say it's a shaitan jinn, and that I mean, it attacks. I said to her, I said, if you approach him, he will get your energy. You don't have to show your photograph. You don't, he will pick it up. I sent him one letter years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's the jinn that's doing it. His jinn. It can see you right now. It can see it can see us talking.
Just think how powerful that jinn will be after all the energy it's absorbed of those murders. I mean, it's still in it.
Oh yeah,
it'll be there.
Still there
because it also, they're outside of time and space, aren't they? Like all these entities. Yeah. And so it'll know that people are talking about him. It'll know that he's still getting attention. It'll be lapping that up. Yeah. Now, something like that, you're dealing with something extremely powerful. Yeah. Extremely powerful.
I know. I said to the girl, because she said, "Oh, I want to interview." I said, "Are you prepared for the high price of that?" I mean, it was horrible, John. It was horrible. I was literally, I'd be sitting with a friend, and then suddenly I'd see a vision of like out in the desert, I mean, and it wasn't just a slight vision. That was like right in front of me. I mean, I was terrified. I was terrified. And then when I spoke to Chris Berry D, who also had contact with him, he's lethal. He had contact. I said, did something spooky happen to you when you dealt with Bianchi? He goes, yeah, the visions. He said, I had to go to the church. And that's why I just drove straight there in the car. I mean, because, and now I know more about it. You said that was probably a jinn. Then, of course, we went on that journey and met the sheikh. And now, for sure, 100%, that is a jinn, And so I said to her, when you have contact with him, you don't have to get close or anything. I sent one letter and I just felt him in my energy field. I mean, but it's probably the jinn. Is it his jinn? I mean, his jinn and he are like completely bound up. I mean, and I said to her, you ready for that? I mean, and I don't particularly want to get in with Bianchi again, because I'm shit scared of it. I mean, I probably have to bloody rush off to EO Coetting and ask him for help with that. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful, dark stuff. I mean, it really is.
Are very powerful. I mean, I've had some strange things to do with the Mothman, believe it or not.
Should we do that? Should we do that for the next show? That might be interesting.
Well, it's not that interesting, really. It was just weird coincidences. I mean, I can tell you about it in the space of a minute, but the point I'm getting to is some things that are out there are extremely powerful,
Mm.
and you only have to touch on them. You only have to give them a bit of attention.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened was the book had just been published, The Mothman Prophecies, or it was a republication, whatever, in a library where I was living. I got a copy of it out. I started reading it. I'd heard of the Mothman, didn't know that much about it. And it was a completely new book, and it just fell apart, literally fell apart. It was so odd. Then my son had gone somewhere and got a DVD, and when he opened it, inside the DVD was the Mothman Prophecies, the film,
Wow.
and that was odd. And I started getting some strange feelings about this. I thought, something's up here. So I wrote to that guy that runs the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant in Virginia, and I told him, and he wrote back and he said, yeah, things like that happen to people all the time. So some of these things you only have to touch on them. It's like, I don't know how to describe it.
Yes. Oh no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Somebody is ringing me. I did say that they can ring me at 12.
Yeah, I've got to peel off shortly.
Okay, so we'll end the show. That was a fascinating story. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with us as usual. Your
Oh my God. Well, if you wanted to talk about the Mothman, actually, the
I
Mothman
do. I
well,
do.
there is
Let's do another show, shall
yeah,
we, about
yeah.
it?
Chicago is turning up in Chicago all the time now.
Excellent. I don't know. Hold that because, as I
Sure.
say, this person's going crazy right now.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about the Mothman. So next week, let's make
Right.
it about that. And anybody who's got stories about that, please comment below and ask us what you want to hear about the Mothman, and then we'll be investigating it next week.
I'll do that. All right then. Okay,
Lovely.
Christine, nice chatting with you, and thank
God
you for
bless.
listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening, and see you next week back on the show, Spectre
Yeah, look
Detective.
forward to
I'll
it.
be back with
Do
you.
a bit of
Take
jetting
care.
up on the Mothman. All right, goodbye.
Thank you, Joanna. Bye.
Bye, Chris.